Hello everyone, my name is Romeo, Lucina, Bebel, and I'm part of the technical support team at BrightSign. And I'm going to tell you about the BrightSign players and the BrightSign cloud-based solution. So BrightSign designs and manufactures media players built specifically for the commercial digital signage market. We offer a tiered product line with increasing levels of video and HTML performance. And within each player line, we have a standard I/O model and an extended I/O model. An extended I/O model have extra features like GPIO, USB, infrared, RS-232, HDMI in, which is basically video capture and display with HDCP support, and PoE, which is power over Ethernet. So this player line breakdown allows you to select the model that best matches your particular application and needs. So what are the BrightSign players' advantages? So our players are designed exclusively for digital signage on a solid-state non-PC platform. They are incredibly reliable, affordable, and easy to use. And just to be clear, solid-state means that there are no moving parts to fail, which allows players to run 24/7 with full confidence. So the aluminum case allows them to operate in harsh environment. They can withstand temperature from minus 20 degrees Celsius to 70 degrees Celsius. And they do that by efficiently dissipating heat without a fan. The players are energy efficient, so power consumption of around 36 watts on a XT1144 fully loaded. And the XT1144 is our flagship player, our most powerful player. So 36 watt is the maximum draw on that player class. BrightSign OS 8 is also built on a scalable and extensible platform with an open architecture. And this makes it easy to integrate with CMS partners like Intuiface. Together, we can deliver a robust and reliable solution, both on the player side and on the CMS side. We also offer regular free BrightSign OS updates. And that allows you to keep pace with new technologies and future-proofs your investment. All BrightSign players are BSN cloud enabled, which provides cloud connectivity. And all players can take advantage of that connectivity with a free subscription to our Control Cloud service. Control Cloud allows you to streamline player setup of a single player or a large number of players. You can also provision your players for the Intuiface CMS at the same time as it is provisioned for BSN Cloud. And this makes player deployment extremely easy. Control Cloud provides access to view real-time player health and tools. Lets you remotely control players at any time from anywhere. You can even choose your own CMS, such as Intuiface, for authoring, publishing, and full content management. This puts users in control of how they operate their digital signage network. And now I'm going to give you a quick demo of how to use the Control Cloud. So in order to get a Control Cloud account, go to the control.bsn.cloud. And once you are on that page, you can sign up for a new account by clicking on the new user button. From there, you'll be able to sign up for the Control Cloud account, and then you can use those credentials to sign in to the Control Cloud portal. Now, if I sign in using those credentials and select this network, I'm then presented with this dashboard. So from this dashboard, I can very quickly see how many of my players are online and offline. I can also activate a device from here or manage the network. And I have access to various training and support resources from this link. Now, if I click on the network, I'm presented with a list of devices on this particular network, and I can very quickly see that 5 of my devices are online and 1 of them is offline. So this is a light system where green means that everything is okay and the player, well, everything is okay as far as the player's connectivity to the control cloud is. And red means that, so this particular player is currently offline, so it's no longer connecting. If a player has some connectivity issues, but is still reporting every so often, you may get a yellow light, which just highlights the fact that this player is not connecting regularly, but it's not quite offline, but it is not connecting as it should. Okay. So in order to set up a player for the BSN control cloud, one of the first steps would be to create a device setup package. So now let's create a setup device package for Intuiface. So let's call this Intuiface webinar, for example. And we are going to use the same name for the device name and the device description. The next step is to make sure to select the right device type setup. And in our case, that will be the partner application. And if I click on this, I'm presented with a drop-down menu, and I would select the Intuiface partner application. Other important step to follow is to make sure that you update the firmware to the latest firmware version. And I would recommend using the latest production release version. So in our case, so on Intuiface, basically the players that are supported are the XD and the XT range, right? So the XT3 is also supported, which is part of this group. So if you were to deploy both type of players, the XT4 and the XT3, I would using the same package, then I would recommend that you enable or activate the firmware update on the production release for both type of players. So once you've done that, you can add this the package to the library. So by clicking on that button, I've added the package I've just created, which is the Intuiface webinar package, to my device setup library. So now that I've got this package in the library, the next step would be to go through the device provisioning. For device provisioning, you have 2 choices in order to add players to the device provisioning list. The first one would be to use a template. So if I save this template here, you can see that this is, well, an Excel template, where basically you would need to just enter the serial number, the device name, setup file, application URL, and description for all the players that you want to provision to for the control cloud. Okay, so you have 2 choices. You either download the template and fill all the necessary details for that template, and then re-upload this template to this UI. And once you've done that, the list of players will basically be populated on the panel. Or the second choice is to add players individually. And to do that, you would click on Add Device here, enter the serial number of the player, so this is optional, you can enter a device name and device description. I would recommend that you do that so you can easily identify your players. And once you've added those details, you can click on Add Device, and the device will appear in this list. Once the device is in that list, you can select it. So here I've got one of my players. I'm able to select this player, click on Apply Setup, then select the new package that I want to apply for this particular player. So in terms of your workflow as a Intuiface CMS user, you would take a BrightSign player out of the box. You would then use the serial number of that player, which you can get from a sticker which is at the bottom of the player. And you would enter that information in this UI or in the Excel spreadsheet, and then specify the package that you want to assign to the player. So once you've done that, you take your player, insert a blank SD card in that player, then provide internet connectivity to that player through the Ethernet port, and the player would basically go and fetch the setup file to then connect to the Intuiface CMS, and then be ready for to deploy content through Intuiface. Okay, so it is a very easy workflow in terms of provisioning and deploying players. Once you have a player on the control cloud, you're able to access what we call the remote diagnostic web server. And you can do so by clicking on this gear here. So through this, I'm able to check the uptime of my player, the firmware version that's currently running on that player, and the local IP address of the player. Under the log tab, I have access to low-level information regarding the kernel, the actual Linux kernel. And quite often, if there is some issues with whether it is video playback or networking related issues, we may be able to help you by looking through the content of this log. So if you do contact support for a problem, whether it is the Intuiface support team or the BrightSign team, if this is escalated to us, you can download the log for your player through this button. Control tab. So through the control tab, I can reboot my player remotely. I can do to re-provision a device, so which means that I can click on this button and get the player to its initial state, meaning that when I first took this player out of the box and loaded the Intuiface setup file. Through the SD card, I'm able to view how much storage space is available on that player, and I can also upload a file. Diagnostic tab, I can view the network information for this player. So Ethernet in this instance, if I had a Wi-Fi card installed, I would be able to see that as well. I can run network diagnostics to make sure that everything is fine in terms of connectivity with the player. I can run tests like DNS lookup, ping, traceroute, run a network packet capture. So this is like a Wireshark packet capture. So very useful for networking troubleshooting. Snapshot, I can request a real-time snapshot from the player. And then click on the actual thumbnail to get a full resolution snapshot. Video. So on the video, I'm able to see the resolution that the screen is being driven at. I can also see that an active collection would imply that there is a screen which is connected to this player and the screen is on. I can also remotely switch the screen on and off. Under the Advanced tab, I can force a firmware update remotely, which is also a very useful thing to be able to do. So this should give you a good idea of how to use the control cloud and why the control cloud is a useful tool to have. So Thank you very much for listening.